Hello, lovely people. I was gonna wait till tomorrow. I was like, get cute, do your hair, put on a little bit of makeup, get a cute outfit on. I'm too excited, so I'm not gonna wait till tomorrow. I'm gonna do it now. What a crazy week. I started out the month of July by participating in the Book Junkie Trials, um, and I'm gonna take just a couple of seconds here and say what a cool thing it was to participate. It's the first time I've ever done a Twitter-based, YouTube-based readathon. Um, and what fun to find fellow book lovers to cheer each other on and to share books with and to talk book reviews with and all that fun stuff. Um, and this book challenge is no joke. I don't have the candle yet, that's coming, but seriously, like we have logoed mugs, Team Mage, yay. Um, Candles, like these people take their book reading and their book challenges very, very seriously. Um, I discovered that the Medievalathon was something I could participate in and just double up on the books from the Book Junkie Trials. And then was insane enough to take on the reading rush this week, which in the past I understand it's my first time doing this one. In the past I understand it's been a 7 books in 7 days thing. I figured why not? Let's try it. There were different prompts for each of the 7 books. And I got through them all. 4 of them, I think, I'm going to look at my list. 1, 2, yeah, 4 of them lined up with the monthly challenge I was already doing, and the other 3 didn't. But what that means is in the month of July, and it's the 28th, as I look at my calendar here, in the month of July, in 28 days, I read 20 books. I'm a little insane. To be fair, I usually have 2 books going at all times. I'm not a true mood reader. Like, if I don't have a goal, if I don't have a prompt, sometimes I can look at the books on my shelf or the books on my Kindle and go, I don't know what to read. So the challenges helped me to focus, and I've cleared a lot of stuff off of my want to read list. By the way, I apologize for the creaking. My desk chair likes to be obnoxious. Um, so um, I want to talk through the books that I read real quick this week. Talk about some challenges that are coming up that I'm gearing up for that starts August 1st. For some people, it starts tomorrow, the 29th. But talk about some of the challenges that are coming up that I'm going to take part in. And I will say, yes, it seems kind of nuts to add those to my life when school starts next month. Next month is also a pretty big one if you try to do all the books. September's is a little bit lighter. But like I said, there's a real community out there on Twitter and YouTube, especially, is where a lot of the action seems to happen. On Discord as well, both the challenge I did this month and the one I'm doing next month have Discord chats happening. If you don't know what Discord is, don't feel bad. I didn't either until I did the July challenge, and my daughter went, "Let me get you set up." So we're going to talk through the books that I read real quick. I'm going to try not to give big reviews on most of them. I'll let you know which ones disappointed me, which ones I almost didn't finish. I'll let you know which ones I absolutely loved. And we'll go from there. I started out with, and I'm trying to remember what I read these for. For the July challenge, this first book, um, excuse me, so I'm trying to get my life more organized. This first book was the Great Library location for the Book Junkie Challenge. And for the Reading Rush, this was the book I meant to read in 2018. I read the first book of this series in like 2017, early 2017. And then I reread it again last year to get ready to read the sequel. And for some reason, never got around to the sequel. Well, I finally did. It's called the Deceiving. It's the middle one here of the 3. I have the trilogy on my Kindle, which is why I have all 3 titles by Niney Hammond. Supernatural faith-based fiction, if that makes any sense. Definite powers of good and evil, but not overly preachy. It had some flavors of it. 3 kids who came up against a really big bad in their childhood, coming back up against it as adults. Some hints of it in that regard. I liked it a lot. I liked it as much as the first, little bit of a twist at the end that I did not see coming, which for me is always a pleasant surprise because I don't very often get caught off guard by plot twists, and this one kind of surprised me. So I'll be interested. There's a 3rd book called The Reckoning that I will eventually be getting to, but I'm interested to see because they left you a giant cliffhanger at the end of deceiving. This next one started off kind of slow for me, and it was the character took some getting used to. He seemed a little wimpy for me for what he was supposed to be, but as the story went on, I began to get an understanding of why the author had chosen to go that route. Sorry, I'm getting a headache, so I'm going to take this clip out of my hair. It's called Warrior Mage, Chains of Honor, Book 1 by Lindsay Baroker. Cover art's gorgeous. There's a sequel to it. I don't remember what the sequel's titled, but I do intend to read it. It was good. This was my title for 5 or more words in the title. I fudged it with the whole Code of Honor Book 1 thing. And in the Book Junkie Trials, it was my Drowning Deep location. He wants to be a mage. He doesn't make it into the academy at the very beginning of the book. He fails one of the trials. He's trying to restore his family's honor. His mother's a well-known pirate. And because of that, there's this cloud that hangs over his family. The world itself is fiction, complete fantasy. There are hints of Chinese culture influence in the family dynamics and the interpersonal relationships, but only hints. It's not heavily based. It's just there's some of that family honor is all important. It's all that matters. But like I said, his character seemed a little whiny at the beginning. Like, poor pitiful me, my mother's a pirate, my father and I aren't close. I shamed him by not making it into the academy. And then someone attacks his uncle's salt mines, which is where he's working, and his life implodes. His brother, who is a soldier, is injured and comes home to try to deliver a message, but they're being hunted. And again, the beginning of a series. I do intend to pursue it more. Like I said, it didn't start well for me, but it ended well, I guess, is where I would go with that one. This is another one that's a continuation of a series I'm working on. I actually restarted the series with this one because it had been like 2 years since I read the first one, and I wasn't ready to go on because I needed to go back and refresh my brain. This one is called The Emperor's Harvest by R.A. Denny. And I love this one. This is the Queendom Stone, deals with royalty. For the Book Junkie Trials, it was my Queendom Stone location. And in the reading rush, it was non-human main characters. This one is told there's a prophecy that talks of 3 different individuals coming from 3 different species in this kingdom, the kingdom of Zeladia. And they've heard of each other, but they don't really interact. They know they're supposed to end up in the capital city together, but they don't interact at all in the course of the book. But we see their storyline developing and the 3 pieces moving together from their perspectives. So we end up in the 3 different characters' lives repeatedly. None of them are humanoid. One of them has webs between his fingers, toes, and his people are great swimmers, obviously. Another one has what they call gliders that connect from her wrists to her ankles. They can't fly, but they can glide from tree to tree. And the other, the best mental picture I could come up with was something like a stone armadillo. Like, he can roll in on himself, and he grows these stone thickness plates all down his back and his head. So when under attack, they can roll in on themselves and protect all their soft spots with these plates that have grown down their backs. Again, big cliffhanger at the end. We don't know where this is going to go. We don't know how this is going to end up, but I wanted to relaunch the series because I read this book a while ago and I really liked it. I just got to get... What they did is there were several smaller, I think, if I remember correctly, this is one that had several smaller novels, and they started grouping them to make fewer books, but longer books. This next one, I was actually didn't fulfill anything in the Book Junkie Trials, so this is one of the ones I didn't get any credit the Book Junkie Trials for. It did take care of purple on the cover. Now, I'm going to show this to you. The last time I showed this, it looks really blue, not purple, but I promise you it's purple. It looks very, very blue on that screen, but I promise you the sky is purple. This one I had a rough time with. I think I actually got it as an ARC online through maybe Hidden Gems, might be the website, and it was a rough start. The author, I will say this, the author committed to writing it from the main character's perspective, and she stays true to that. The problem is, at the very beginning of the book, the main character is transforming. Vampire-esque type story. So we don't know what's happening from an outside perspective. There's nobody explaining. We're just walking the transition with her. So it's very scattered. It's sort of like a bizarro dream world. Um, and so things are very disjointed and they don't seem to connect and make sense and they don't follow a logical path. And then you realize, oh, she's having some sort of a weird transitional dream. Um, it got better. It did. Um, it took a minute to get there. But Blood Crescent by S.M. McCoy took care of part of the reading rush for me. This book, I know which this one was. This was an author's first book. This is not a current publication. It's been out for a while, and she's got several more in this series since then. Fans of Janet Ivanovich's Stephanie Plum, this is the book for you. It's called The Accidental Demon Slayer by Angie Fox. There's a whole series of books based on this character. Very definitely has that Stephanie Plum, what the heck have I gotten myself into? She was born to be a demon slayer and doesn't know it. Her mother vanished out of her life, and she was adopted. Her grandmother finds her right before her birthday and locks her in her bathroom because on her birthday is when the transition starts to happen, the change starts to happen. Did a lot of fantasy reading in case you didn't catch that. There's a griffin who's a shapeshifter. He's a griffin, but he's also a hot, sexy man, so you know where that part of the storyline is going. But it was really fun. The character is one that I wanted to read more about. Just like Stephanie Plum, when I read the Janet Ivanovich books, they're not heavy reads, they're a quick read. I can usually polish off a Janet Ivanovich book in a day, but Stephanie is just this girl that I want to go have a drink with. I want to go sit down and just have a drink with her, shoot the breeze, whatever. And The Accidental Demon Slayer has sort of that same vibe, but from a supernatural perspective. A lot of fun. I really like that one. Again, intend to follow through on that series when I find the time again. This next one, I feel really stupid because I actually read the actual book. I visited my daughter in Davenport, Iowa this weekend. Had the actual book, read the actual book when I was at her house and left it there. So I have an image for you on my iPad, but I did actually read the hard copy book. Beautiful Creatures. Beautiful Creatures. This was not a Book Junkie Trial book. This is one that didn't do me any good there. The reading rush, one of the prompts was to read a book and watch the movie adaptation, and there was a movie adaptation of this done, I think, back in 2013. Beautiful Creatures by Cami Garcia and Margaret Stoll. As is usually the case, the book was better. It's a 500 and some page book, and they tried to do like a 2-hour movie, and it just, there are things they're going to have to compromise. It just didn't work as well as the book. But a really well written book. There's a 4-book series. There's 3 other books after this one. Had to tuck that one onto my look into seeing if your library has these as well. Last and certainly not least, this is one of my favorite books of all time. It's the one I go back to almost once a year. I go back and read this. I took the dust jacket off because the dust jacket is falling apart and kept sliding off the book anyway, so I took it off. It's called Calico Palace by Kim Bristow. Follows the story of a woman named Kendra who finishes her private boarding school back on the East Coast and takes a ship around the Cape to join her mother and stepfather in San Francisco, California. Before there really is a San Francisco. Like, this is before the gold rush of 49. So the challenge for Kendra is her mother ran off with a man when she was 16, got married, got pregnant, and realized before she knew she was pregnant that the marriage was a mistake. And when they were in the process of trying to fill out the paperwork to have an annul, discovered she was pregnant. So Kendra's always sort of been a reminder of her mother's shame, which is why she lived with a grandmother and got shipped off to boarding school. Kendra's mother remarried a man who was a military commander. And so he's been assigned to commandeer this base in San Francisco. And it follows her life and the friends that she makes and the experiences that she has in a town where women are as scarce as hen's teeth. And pretty ones are even rarer. There's so much about it that I love, but I got some new insights into it this time around that put the title in a whole different perspective for me. I'm doing a totally separate video on that book later, only because I need to give it some more time to process. So yeah, that's it. I finished 7 books in 7 days for the reading rush. 3 of them were not on my Book Junkie Trials list. 4 of them were. I have finished all 17 locations of the Book Junkie Trials with 3 days to spare. feel pretty good about that. I did 7 books in 7 days for the reading rush, and finished the Medieval-a-thon, which again, all of the titles that in that worked with um, the Book Junkie Trials. The only prompt I didn't take care of in the Medieval-a-thon, you could earn armor, a cape, a crown, and then weapons. And they wanted you to try to earn at least one weapon. I earned 3 of the 4. I just didn't earn the 4th one. Um, that book was supposed to double up with something in the Book Junkie Trials, but I traded that one out and just didn't read it and didn't feel compelled enough to read it for the Medieval-a-thon. So I've gotten all of those books but one. Coming up, I will put the links, the Twitter links to these in the comments. For those of you that like doing book challenges, or you're like me and you're like, I'm not really a mood reader, I need somebody to sort of nudge me in a direction when it comes to book prompts. I did get a lot of things cleaned out of my want to read list, my Kindle list. There's a whole lot more things now that say read. My actual bookshelves of hard copy books, several things have been read and moved to a different shelf now, so I know I read them. But I enjoyed the camaraderie and the getting to hang out and getting to cheer each other on and getting to track my progress. And so I will be doing more. In August, there's a Disneyathon going on that's very similar to the Book Junkie Trials. There are 4 teams, all based on 4 Disney movies, and you have to read your team's books in a specific order. There are 4 characters you have to read a book for, 4 or 5, and a group book. And unlike the Book Junkie Trials, where we all read the Grail, the Disneyathon, each team has their own team book that everybody on the team is supposed to read. Unlike the Book Junkie Trials, where once you got done with your stuff for your team, you could just kind of wander the kingdom. The Disneyathon, they want you to move in a specific order. So once I get done with my team stuff, there's a specific team I have to move to next. In that team, I can read in whatever order I want, but I do have to move to that specific team next and then move on from there if I choose to go through the rest of the challenge. In September, the Monsterathon is coming, which is a slightly different setup. Teams, again, slightly different setup, slightly different way of working things, but again, not worrying about that one a whole lot right now because I don't have to have my TBR declared for that just yet. My Disneyathon readathon, I've got to get that one declared before August 1st, so I'll be working on that tonight when I'm done here. But I did want to give a shout out to the Queen, Rachel. She and her team did such an amazing job putting together the Book Junkie Trials. It was such a blast to kind of hang out with them online. And special shout out to Becca in the books. Awesome team leader, awesome person to interact with online. And I can't wait to get my candle from her. I mean, come on, the girl finds a bookish reason to make candles. She's automatically awesome, right? Books and candles, 2 of my favorite things. But I encourage you, if you like readathons, they're out there. And take advantage of them. Do the interacting, do the bonding online with your teams. It's a lot of fun. You'll find some online friends and swap book ideas and get recommendations. And there's a lot of, oh, you liked this book, you should try this one. Like there's a lot of sharing of the love between team members and people taking part in the quests. So have a great evening. Make sure you read something fun and challenging and thought-provoking. And I will see you later.